guys, Elena here with Elena Nicole Health. I am a certified health coach and personal trainer, and I work with women who want to lose weight, get healthier, really look and feel their best every single day. So if you guys ever have any questions on health coaching, how it works, how it can help you reach your goals, or even, on the videos and content that I do create and put out there, and just need a little guidance, feel free to reach out. I do free consultations, and I'm always happy to answer questions as well. So today's video, I am talking about how to dine out, eat out, go out to eat with your friends, on date nights, all of those things without completely going off track and losing control. How to really do it a little bit more intentionally and keep control, and also, leave the night or wake up the next morning feeling good about your decisions, or at least making more progress towards feeling that way after you eat out or go out or whatever it is. Okay, so the first piece of it, I always have a goal for the night, and typically it's two things. It's to have fun and to enjoy the experience. So whether I'm going, with friends or with my husband or, somewhere with my daughter, I want to have a good time. That's typically why I'm going, and I want to enjoy the experience. So that's typically someone else's company or, just a new environment, test on a new restaurant or bar or whatever it is. But I really want to enjoy the experience, the whole experience, not just while I'm literally putting food in my mouth or having a drink, but, the entire thing. So focusing on those two things, because those are my overall goals, helps me to execute the next steps and tips that I'm going to share with you all. So number one is not overstuffing myself. We all know the feeling when we go out to eat and we go way past our point of being full and content, and we leave and we're feeling just stuffed and uncomfortable and unhappy. And that definitely doesn't help me reach those goals that I mentioned in the beginning part, which is having fun and enjoying the experience, the whole point of going. It kind of cancels out everything positive that happened up to that point. So for me, it's really checking in with myself throughout the evening and throughout, the meal or appetizers or whatever we're having, and making sure that I'm still feeling like I'm in a good place and not overstuffing myself. That is number one. Doesn't matter what I'm eating, whether it's healthy food, nutrient dense, something that's fueling my body, or completely not. I go out to eat all the time and get appetizers that are not healthy. I eat fried calamari, I eat things, bread, all of those types of things. White bread, I'll say, because there are healthier breads, but obviously processed white flour bread made with that is not the healthiest thing in the world. And I eat all sorts of things like that. But I just watch how much and how I'm feeling as I'm eating them and make sure not to overstuff myself on them. Again, it doesn't matter what that food is. Okay, so the second one goes along with the first. When I stop enjoying the food and drinks that I have or that I have in front of me, I stop eating them. And this more applies to drinks, I feel like, than food, but it really can apply to both. Once you've already tasted the appetizer or had enough of your meal to where you're feeling content, you're kind of on the verge of maybe getting closer to overstuffing yourself, and you've already tasted it, you've experienced it, you've enjoyed it, and it's kind of like another piece or another serving or another beverage is not going to do anything more for me except to just be more. And just making sure that I'm being aware of that. I know at one point I would go out to eat and I would look at the menu and, the portion sizes and just be thinking, what is going to be like the biggest? What am I going to get the most of? And I think when I heard myself thinking that in my mind, I was like, wow, that's so crazy that I think like that, because I don't just want a plate of garbage, or I just don't want like an excessive amount of something amazing. I want a specific amount that's going to make me feel good. I'm going to enjoy it, and then I want to be done. So just checking in with myself again and realizing when I'm just eating to eat and just because it's there. A lot of times this can happen when I'm at like a Mexican restaurant that has chips and salsa, or guacamole, or queso dip, and it's also good, and you just continue to eat it because it's in front of you, but you're really no longer like necessarily enjoying it. You just want that next one, and you've already had, the portion size or amount that you feel good about, but you just keep going because it's there, and really the enjoyment is kind of wearing off. Now it's just habitual. It's just you don't want to break yourself out of that kind of autopilot you've started to be in. So that's the second one. Okay, you guys probably have heard me say this one a few times because it kind of applies to just everyday eating for me. It's portioning out the amount that you intentionally want to eat before your first bite. So you're actually making that decision with your brain and not your hands, like how much do I want to eat, and putting it out on an individual plate that's outside of the serving bowl or dish or bag if you're at home. I literally do this all the time. It doesn't matter if I'm at, like a family gathering, a party, if I'm in my kitchen, sometimes I will put it out on a napkin just because I want to be making that intentional decision about what I'm actually deciding to put in my mouth. I don't count out chips. I don't count out almonds or, anything like that. I just literally think, okay, this is about the amount that I want to be eating right now. I eat it and then I check in with myself and decide, do I really want more? So it keeps us from doing the thing, which I don't know if any of you have ever done this, but you sit down with a bowl of something or a bag of something, or maybe you're kind of in the middle of a couple other things and you're just like eating. You're putting just like food in mouth. And then all of a sudden, the whole bag's gone. You're like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? How did I eat the whole thing? Maybe it's a carton of ice cream. Maybe it's a bag of popcorn. And you're just like, whoa, I just like checked out and did that. And sometimes we don't want to be doing that, especially when we're out to eat. So I do the same thing. I'll take a side plate and I'll just put a portion of chips or whatever it is on it. I will eat that and then I'll decide, do I want another portion or am I good? Because I know more food is coming and I want to feel good at the end of the night. Again, all going back to those initial goals. You want to enjoy the experience, you want to feel good when you leave, and you want to have fun. And when we overindulge and sometimes overstuff ourselves, it's really hard to do those things. Okay, so this is a question I'm continuously asking myself throughout the night when I'm out eating or doing any of the things like I mentioned originally. I always am checking in and thinking, how is this choice going to make me feel tomorrow? Later tonight, tomorrow morning, halfway through the day tomorrow, if I have 3 servings of this and it's, full of sodium, am I going to feel like super bloated and puffy all day tomorrow? Probably. So I'm always thinking into like the future. And when I first heard that concept, I was like, I don't really care about the future when I'm in the present. Like I just want to enjoy what I'm doing right now. But then I realized that's not necessarily like tomorrow or 3 days later. It can be 30 minutes later when you literally walk out of the restaurant and maybe you're going to like meet friends afterwards, or who knows what it looks like for you, or maybe you're going to, do something with your family if you're going out to lunch or brunch or whatever it is, and you just want to feel good for the rest of the day. You don't want to feel like garbage and like you need to go lay down. So that is something I'm always thinking about. If I have if I have this food over this one or another serving, how is it going to make me feel afterwards versus just in this initial moment? The 5 minutes versus like the 5 hours, maybe 2 days or whatever it may be. And again, that applies a lot to drinking as well. For me, I know I've definitely cut down a significant amount on my alcohol consumption, really because I'm thinking more into like the why behind it. Why do I want a 4th glass of wine? I've already had 3. They tasted amazing. They're no longer really tasting that great. I'm making poor decisions as I have more and more. And I know it's just going to lead to me feeling pretty crappy the next day. So I'm always thinking into that future of how am I going to feel in 30 minutes? How am I going to feel in an hour? How am I going to feel tomorrow morning and the entire day? And a lot of times that helps me make so many better decisions in the moment. And then the last one I would say is just jumping back into your routine ASAP. That one is huge. I'm speaking more to like going out at night because that's typically what it is for me, going on a date night or, out with friends, out for drinks, especially when I go to Buffalo or to visit my sisters, my family. We all love food. So, we might go out to dinner and I'm not eating necessarily health foods or foods that are fueling my body. Totally fine. I'm following these tips. But then the next morning, that's really key, or even later on that night, your brain is it's on that high from all of those foods you don't typically eat. A lot of those very highly processed foods, the flours and the sugars, all those things, they're very, very addictive. So your brain is just wanting more and more and more, especially if we've had alcohol, because that literally puts the prefrontal cortex part of our brain, the decision-making part of our brain, to sleep. So we are not making any smart decisions. So we just think we just need to keep getting that hit that we got earlier on in the night or day or whatever it is. So it's being really, really aware of that, acknowledging it, and making that decision beforehand that you're done after the meal or whatever it is. And if I'm hungry later on in the night, I'm going to do this. And making sure you actually follow through with that plan, and knowing that buzzing may go around in your brain, and that's totally okay. Just going forward with the decisions that you already made, whether that's that night or the morning after. For me, it doesn't matter how much I drink or eat the night before. If I go out to dinner or one of those things, the next morning I am typically jumping right back into my routine with breakfast. I almost always have like a green smoothie or like an egg scramble, something like that. That's more like resemblant of maybe a brunch or something. I'll even make my own like hash browns and eggs, something that's really going to taste great, but it's also going to be jumping right back into the normal routine that I am used to versus continuing on with the eating habits that I don't want to continue past, the night out that I chose to have or the dinner out or meal out that I chose always have. But anyways, lastly, no matter what decisions you make, they are, after they're finished, they're done. Do not beat yourself up. That is more harmful than eating or drinking anything in the entire world is beating ourselves up. I used to do it all the time. I'd wake up or hours later, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I hate myself. I'm disgusted. I'm such a failure. I'm never going to succeed. All of those things, they're there's absolutely no benefit to them. There is no benefit to beating ourselves up. So when we start to do it, it's fine. Just remind yourselves it's fine. Nothing's gone wrong. You can move on with the next choice that you make, with the next meal that you have, the next activity that you do. Go and get some movement, drink tons of water, totally fine. You didn't derail yourself. You didn't cancel out all the work you've done previously. Just do not beat yourself up. Move on, make the next best choice. Start planning for, the day ahead, whatever it may be. But get yourself out of that mindset of, going in that downward spiral of, this won't work for me. I keep doing this. Totally fine. That's literally what I say to myself. It's all good. I posted a month or so ago that I went out with friends when I was in Buffalo, and that's where my sister and my family are, so I'm always going and doing a little more things than I do when I'm home in Atlanta, and I had chicken fingers and fries at like midnight, I think it was, after we had been out for the night, and it's fine. It's totally okay. I decided to do that. Again, like I said, prefrontal cortex, part of your brain, put to sleep. You're making decisions you probably wouldn't make normally on an afternoon on a Tuesday. But it's all good. And I moved on from that. You get your movement in the next day. You go back to your normal breakfast, resume your routine. If you have one, or just make some healthier choices next after that, and you're good to go. So I hope you guys found this somewhat helpful. Please let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know if you have questions. Again, you can always find me on all of my social pages at Elena Nicole Health, or on my website, elenanicolehealth.com. I do health coaching, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I always do free consultations. So talk to you guys soon.